Hi everyone. So today we will be discussing about transfer pricing and distortive strategies. We will analysis of multinational enterprises, profit shifting and legal implications, and we will also discuss the landmark Vodafone Hutchison case of 2007. So let's start. So first we will discuss about pricing. What is transfer pricing? So pricing refers to the pricing of goods, services, and intangible of any intangibles that has been traded between related legal entities within a multinational enterprise. So intangible things like intellectual property rights and taxations. So in essence, it is an internal accounting mechanism used to allocate profit and cost across different geographical borders where a company operates. While often used for legitimate internal resource allocations, it becomes a focal point for tax authorities when used to shift income from high tax to low tax jurisdictions. Uh, so now we will discuss about arm length principle. So the international standards. The arm length principle is a cornerstone of international transfer pricing regulations. It has been defined under OECD and UN tax models. So first of all, comparisons. Transaction between related parties must be priced as if they were between independent and unrelated entities. And fair market value. Second, fair market value, the price should reflect the true market value of the underlying assets or services provided at the time of trade. So it should have a true market value and underlying asset and services at the time. And so anti-avoidance, third is anti-avoidance. So ALP, arm length principle, prevents the multinational enterprises from manipulating prices. So it does not allow them to manipulate the prices. It artificially reduce their global tax burden through profit shifting. uh, and the question is, why multinational enterprises resort to distortions? So there have been few aspects. First is tax arbitrage. So multinational enterprises often use distortive transfer pricing strategies to exploit differences in tax rates between countries by inflating expenses in high tax countries and inflating revenues in low tax havens. They low tax havens, like where the taxes are low, are also called as tax havens. So they minimize overall liability. So there has been two aspects of that. The one is base erosion and profit shifting. Base erosion is reducing a tax base in a specific countries, like in one country they are charging less tax and another country they are charging high tax. And the other aspect is profit shifting, moving actual earning to subsidiaries in jurisdiction with 0% or near zero tax rates. So what the second aspect are their primary motivations only. So maximizing post-tax returns for shareholders, achieving a competitive advantage for local firms, managing global liquidity and cash flow between entities, exploiting loopholes in outdated international tax treaties. So these are the primary motivations of M&E's risk. So now we will discuss about common distortive strategies. So we will discuss about three strategies. So first one is IP and royalty fees. So holding intellectual property is in a low tax entity and charging high royalty fees to subsidiaries in high tax country to deduct expenses. And the second is thin capitalization, funding a subsidiary with high interest debts rather than equity. The interest payment are tax deductible, shifting profit outwards. And the third is management fees, charging subsidiary for centralized management services at inflated rates that do not reflect actual value added or cost incurred. These all strategies are collectively known as base erosion and profit shifting. We have discussed earlier. A major target for all a major target in G20 summits and OECDs. So now we will discuss about the Vodafone and Hutchison case. It was a landmark dispute on indirect transfer and the sovereign tax rights. So uh, in 2007, the UK-based Vodafone Group sought to enter the rapidly growing Indian market. Indian market at that time was rapidly growing. Indian telecom market, there were many players in. At that time, BSNL was there. So the anatomy was there was a transaction between Hutchison Isar Limited and a Vodafone Limited. So Vodafone International Holdings, it was at neither of Netherlands, acquired 67% stake, a majority stake in a Hutchison Isar Limited company, which was an Indian entity. So crucially, the sale was made by Hutchison Telecommunication International's Cayman Islands to Vodafone via an offshore purchase of a holding company, CGP Investment, also based on Cayman Island. So the indirect transfer dispute, the revenue stance was that the Indian income tax department demanded approximately $2.2 billion in a capital gain tax from Vodafone. So the argument was, even though the transaction happened between two offshore entities, Cayman Islands, the underlying asset being traded were located in India. As the company was located in India, so the Indian income tax department asked for approximately 11,000 crore in as capital gains tax from Vodafone. So the legal logic was that the revenue argued that took through provisions should apply, treated the offshore sale as a taxable transfer of Indian business right and asset. So in 2012, the Supreme Court ruling came after a multi-year legal battle about like 5 years. There was a Supreme Court of India cited that there were lack of jurisdiction and strict interpretation. So the lack of jurisdiction was the court held that the transaction was a bona fide and FDI and occurred outside India. So it was considered as bona fide FDI, and as it was considered outside India by the Supreme Court of India in 2012. The Indian law at the time did not specifically allow the taxation of indirect transfers. So the retrospect. So the government did, like, it was a nuclear option. They make an amendment in the constitution. Upset by the Supreme Court's order, the Indian Parliament introduced a retrospective amendment in the Finance Act of 2012, which was like the law was amended to indirect tax back to 1962, effectively nullifying the Supreme Court's ruling of Vodafone of 2012. So what in the consequences was that, like, investors who get panic, they move. This move created terrorism fears, leading to massive decline in FDI. So at that time, the foreign direct investment from the foreign countries where investors were losing confidence in India. Uh, so the legal paradox was, yeah, it raised question about the stability of the law and sanctity of the judicial decision in democratic market. So international arbitration and Netherlands mediated bilateral investment treaty was invoked. So Vodafone invoked the NIT, Netherlands India bilateral investment treaty, and took the case to the permanent courts of arbitration at The Hague. So the verdict of 2012, the International Tribunal ruled in favor of Vodafone, stating that India's retrospective tax demand was in the breach of fair and equitable treatment clause of the treaty. India was ordered to cease the tax demand and pay legal cost. So we lost the case. This highlights the power of BIT also in protecting multinational enterprises from sovereign legislative outreach. So we will now discuss about global legal implications. So first of all, we will discuss about sovereign rights and treaties. The case demonstrates that while nations have the right to tax, international treaties can BIT can reach the rights if it's exercised unfairly from retrospectively. The second is transparency and certainty. Global investors now prioritize tax certainty, sudden changes in laws. These things are views and measure sovereign risk. And the BPS 2.0 evolution to avoid such messy litigation. The OECD has introduced a Pillar 1 and Pillar 2 to create a global minimum tax, ensuring profit are taxed where the value is created, regardless of corporate structure. So now the companies and the enterprise has to pay global minimum tax of tax according to global minimum tax standards, that is of 15%. So the final takeaways that we get from the learnings today is, first of all, transfer pricing is a tool to multinational enterprises which effectively but can be distorted for aggressive tax avoidance. Multinational enterprises use distortion to bridge tax gaps between high and low taxation, and the Vodafone case serves a cautionary tale for government regarding retrospective legislation. So the final outcome is India scrapped the retrospective tax in 2021 to restore its image as an investor friendly nation. So thank you, hope you enjoy the session.